whoever knows the definition of a thread, can someone tell me what is a thread? You can respond your answer in the chat.
Flow of control, sir.
Yeah. Any other? What is a thread?
It's a separate path of processing.
Okay.
Single independent task.
Yeah. Let me write.
Execution.
Yeah, fine. Thanks, guys. So let me tell you that. So thread is nothing but a, whoever is not speaking, please go on mute. Threading nothing but an independent path of execution. Yeah, I request everyone who is not speaking, please go on mute, because the small noise make it a disturbance for all the 150 to 200 people. So thread is nothing but an independent path of execution within a same program. Okay, so this is the definition of a thread. Thread is nothing but an independent path of execution within a same program. Now, you guys already know there are three ways to create a thread object. One way is extending thread class, implementing runnable, and then implementing callable. Okay. Now, extending thread class, implementing runnable, implementing callable. Now, I'm not going into much into details. First of all, let me explain what is a thread, and then what is the disadvantage of a thread, and how can I do the multi-threading program. That is the aim of this workshop. Now, let me create a workspace. Now, whatever I teach, guys, whatever the course I take, I'll be teaching in a practical oriented manner. So I am creating a workspace. Yeah, so I'm just creating a new workspace in the Eclipse. And once it loads, then we will create a new Java project and then start creating a thread. Let's the Eclipse load. Yeah, Eclipse is loading. Just give me a minute. Yeah, so thread workshop Eclipse is loaded. I'm creating a new Java project. Okay, I'll just give the name thread workshop. Okay, you can select anything, but for time being, I'm selecting 8 because many of the people, Java 8 something. So we are not we are not learning anything related to J8, but I'm selecting the environment as 8 instead of 17. Yeah, so I just created. Now let me create a package. I hope you guys are able to see my screen and able to hear me clearly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'm just creating a package called com.ashokit.multithreading. Done. Now let us create a class. I'm creating a class called example thread. I just created a class. Okay. So let me make it maximize. Yeah. Now this is a thread. I mean, like, this is a class. Now, if I want to make this as a thread, then that we know that we need to extend this from thread class. Extend this from thread class. So once I extend this from thread class, this will become a thread class. Now, whenever I extend a class from a thread, then this example thread will become a thread class. Now, how can I create an object? So if it is a thread, you are extending a thread class, creating an object to the child class itself is a thread object.
అన్ని వదిలేయాలని అసలు ఈ తలనొప్పులు అసలు నిజంగా నీ ఫోన్
Mahesh, I think I request everyone to please go on mute. I don't have a habit of muting all you guys. Please go on mute. Thanks. Example thread T1 equal to new example thread. So now here what I'm doing in line number 6, I'm just creating a normal object, but this class is extending from a thread class. So this example thread, this T1 is nothing but a thread object itself. Now, the first important thing, whenever I'm extending a thread class or implementing a runnable interface, I need to override the run method. Now the question is, why should I override the run method? Why should I override run method? Because whenever I run, if I run the program, where the program execution starts, where the normal Java program execution starts,
From
Main method.
yeah. So you guys all know that the normal Java program execution starts from a main method, right? Similarly, whenever I create a thread. So how to create a thread? By extending a thread class and creating a child class object is nothing but I have created a thread class. Now, where the thread flow of execution starts? Thread flow of execution starts from a run method. Now let's go to the thread class. See, I am opening the source code of thread.class. Thread.class means it's a inbuilt class provided by Java developers. Now in this one, there is a method called run. Look at here. See, this is a method that gets called whenever you create a thread. But here, why we are doing a multi-threading? Whenever you want to execute a thread, for example, I have a company. In my company, there are 10 lakhs employees are there. Okay, 10 lakh employees are there. If I calculate the salary for all these people in a single process, it may take 20 hours. Okay, which is a long time. Now I want to divide it. So can I say whoever may be the person, whether it's a CEO, manager, normal person, attender, watchman, security guard, the salary calculation would be same, correct? But then each person will have a different CTC, but the calculation of the salary remains same. Am I right?
Yes, Karthik.
Yeah.
Yes.
Calculation of salary. Now, this calculation of salary should take dynamic values. What is the basic salary? How many number of days he has worked? What is his DA, TA, HRA, etc. Okay, that means, so if I am taking a single thread process, I have to give 10 lakh. I mean, I have to write a for loop, repeat that for loop for 10 lakh employees, and then inside this, I will write the logic. So this will take 20 hours. But why should I go for a multi-threading? Because you don't want to execute. See here, you will create around 10 number of threads, or let us take four threads. 4 threads will execute 4 employees first. Okay, 2, 3, 4. Now that means if you look at, say, for example, if the time taken by this calculation of salary is 1 minute. Okay. Now with a normal for loop, in order to execute, can I say that in order to compute the salary of 4 employees, it takes 4 minutes, normal process. But if I use 4 threads, all the threads will run parallelly. That is a multi-threading, correct? So then can I say that in 1 minute, 4 employee salary is calculated?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is an advantage, correct? Now, that means all the threads are processing one calculation only. Now, that means for each and every thread has to execute this method, calculation of salary. And it has some runtime values. Based on these runtime values, it will execute. Now, that means, now similar to the, whenever I run the Java program, it starts from main method. Similarly, whenever you create a thread object, where the thread object execution starts? In the run method. Every time, whenever you start a thread, the execution of a thread starts from a run method. Now here, where is the run method? In the thread.class, we have a run method. Now here, now I want to write a so that means inside the run method, I should call, like, there is a run method like this. Inside this run method, I will call calculation of salary, so that my method gets called. Am I right?
Yes, yes, you
Yeah.
can call.
Now, yeah, in order to do this, can I modify the code of thread.class here? Can I modify the code in the thread.class of run method?
No, we can't do.
No, we cannot do. It's a
Parent
class file and
class.
it is provided by done. Yeah. What is the another way we can modify? So in the child class, we need to
You can
override the run method.
Override the run method.
Yeah, that is the reason. So some people will ask, what is the necessary or what is the need for overriding a run method? Whenever you are overriding a run method, the thread flow of execution starts. If you don't override, what happens? Parent class run method will be called. But can you write your logic here? No. But why am I using the multi-threading or threading? There is some process. I want to execute that process multiple times. So that's why I have to override the run method. Now let's write the run method. Now, instead of super.run, I will write, for time being, I'm writing run method execution. Okay, done. Now here, as I mentioned just now, thread is nothing but a independent path of execution within a same program. Now let us visualize this one. Now, so whenever after creating a thread object, we need to call the start method. Now, why should I call the start method? Let's debug this program. Now let me keep the debugger point, breakpoint, and then debug as. Okay, let me create one more thread object also. We can create any number of threads. T2, here also T2. Now let us debug as Java application. Okay. So now whenever you're debugging, guys, look at here carefully. So here in the left hand side, you can see one debug window. So you can see the thread main. In whenever you study any thread topic, main method is also a thread, correct? Now, will you be able to visualize that? Thread in brackets main. What is the name of a thread? It's a main thread, correct? So this is how I can say that main method is also a thread. Now what I will do F8. So till now, how many executions are there in the process?
Only one thread.
Only one thread is executing, correct? Now let us look at T1.start. So whenever you create a thread object and whenever you call the start method. Now where is the start method? Say in the thread class, there is a start method. So this start method is responsible to create an independent path of execution. Now, what have you done? For example, thread, the parent class is thread class. Now, whenever, as part of the inheritance principle, whenever you're creating a child object, we're using the child object. Can you be able to call the parent class methods?
Yes.
Yes. So that is what I'm calling the thread.start method. Now, what is the work of the start method? The start method will make use of the operating system and then it will create an independent path. Now, till now, before execution of line number 7, you can see only one execution here. Now let me do F8. Let me quickly do F6 or F8. Then immediately you can see one more execution. Just a minute, guys. Okay. Yeah. So I'm clicking F6. Okay. Now, see, do you guys see one more execution started? Thread 0, correct? Earlier, only one thread main was there. Now, what is the another thread has started? Yes.
Thread
now,
0.
Now my main method is in line number 9. You can see in line number 9. Now, where is my next example thread.run? It is executing run method. Now, can I say thread is nothing but an independent path of execution till here? Hope you understand. Did I create the independent path of execution?
Yes.
So what is the independent path of execution? This is one. In the same program, I have one more. Now, which method is responsible to create an independent path of execution? Start method. Now look at here. Now I'm clicking on whichever the thread you want to run. You click on that main thread. Now what I'm doing, what I will do, I will click on F6 again. Now see, do you see after execution of line number 9, do you see any one more independent path of execution?
No, only 2 are there.
Okay. Now let's execute line number 10. Now that means, can I say that from line number 10 only I'm getting the independent path of execution?
Yes.
Yes.
That means,
Starts.
can I say that start method, the work of a start method is to create a thread, correct? Who actually
Yes.
creates a thread? The start method is creating a thread. How it is creating a thread? It is creating an independent path of execution. Now, once it has created an independent path of execution, whenever you run a main program, it starts from a main method, Java program. Similarly, after creation of a start method, where it is going the control? The run method, correct?
Run method. Yeah.
So each and every thread starts its execution from a run method. Now, within a main method, do you see more than one independent path of executions?
Yes. Yes.
Now, does this definition satisfied? Thread is nothing but an independent path of execution within the same program. Look at here. From the main method itself, I have created multiple threads, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So this is the main definition of a thread, guys. So this is how you can debug a thread. Now, whenever you are debugging at home, some people will forget keeping the breakpoint here. If you, for example, here, so I am doing the debugging. What in the debugging, whenever you keep a breakpoint, the automatically control comes there. Am I right?
Right.
Now, for example, some people they do, I mean, like when you try at home now after the class, so they might forget to keep the debugger point here, breakpoint. And then they will say, sir, it is not executing run method. No, because whenever you keep a breakpoint, automatically it gets executed, right? So now since I kept the breakpoint, I can see thread 0 started executing run method. Thread 1 also started executing run method. Now you need to keep the breakpoint. Then only you can visualize a thread. This is how you can visualize a thread, or you can debug a thread. Okay. Now let me do F8. So this is the execution of a this is how the threads will be executed. See, look at here. I'm completing. See, let me go to line number 18. So see, I'm completing the another thread. Now I'm going to the main method. I'm completing. So whichever the thread you want to execute, click on that thread and do F6 or F8 or F5, whatever you want. So this is a thread, basically a thread, and how to debug a thread or how to visualize a thread in Java. Now the thing is, the problem is here I am calling the start method, it is executing a run method. Now let us take the same example of 10 lakh employees or 1000 employees. Now if I want to call the run method 1000 times, how many threads I need to create? I need to create. Can I reuse that thread here? Now here so whenever I call the start method, it is calling the run method. So inside the run method, I will write salary calculation logic, correct? Let us write one method called calculate salary. Okay. Now I'm not writing any logic for time being. I'm writing sysout. We'll see the calculation of salary little later. Calculating salary. Okay. And this method I'm calling it from run method. Okay. Now, so whenever I say t1.start, it will execute the run method, and then from here it will go to the calculation of salary. Done. It's good. And that means after completion of T1, after completion of this method, T1 is completed the run method. Done. Now, can I call the start method again on the same thread? If I call that, if it is running the run method, then I can say that I'm able to reuse the thread, correct?
Yes.
Now, but is it possible?
No.
So whenever
if
you call the start method on a thread, second time, it will throw the illegal thread state exception. Illegal thread state exception. Now, how do you get this thread state exception? Look at the code. In the start method, you can go to the thread class. Do you guys see one thread status? So whenever you start a thread and it is not yet, start method is not invoked, the thread status is 0. Once the start method is here, from line number 7, before this, on T1, did I start the thread start method? Before line number 7? No. This is the first time I'm calling the start method on a thread.
Equal to 0.
Yeah. So then the thread status will be a global variable, which is the value is 0. Now, whenever it is 0, do you get exception? No. Done. So it will execute your run method. Done. Now, whenever you are calling the start method, so after it is going inside this, it will modify the thread status to some other value. So inside the start 0, the thread status will be given with some other value. Now, whenever the second time you are calling the start method, the value, what happened? The thread status is no longer a 0. Then what the exception is throwing? Illegal thread state exception. So The disadvantage of creating a thread like this is once the thread is created, you will call the start method. It is good. It will create an independent path of execution. But can I reuse the thread? If I want to execute again, I am creating another object. If I want again, and I will have to create another thread object. But the same thread object after completion of the run method, can I reuse it? Now let us see whether can I reuse it or not. Now let's keep the debugger inside this thread. We can also debug inside this code also. Let us click it, keep the debugger here. Now let us debug as Java application. Yeah, let's click on F6. So t.start, where I will go see, look at here. What is the value of thread status? Look at here. Because I did not call the start method before this. So first time I'm calling, that thread status is 0. So I don't get any exception. So let me go to F6 or F8 so that I will go to the next breakpoint. So look at here, second time when I call, already see the thread, one thread has started. Now, but in the main method, what is there? You are calling the start method again. Now in the start method, what is this thread status? Once you started, it is no longer 0. Then what do you get? Illegal thread state exception. That means, am I able to reuse the thread?
No.
No, that is the disadvantage. Now can I see here java.lang.illegal thread state exception. Now when the illegal thread state exception will come, so whenever you are calling the start method on a thread twice, second time onwards, or third time, fourth time, then you will get a illegal thread state exception. Or I can also call it as whenever the start method is called, the run method will execute. After completion of a run method, the thread is considered as dead. In normal functional terms, after completion of the run method, the thread is considered as dead. Now on a dead thread, you are calling the start method again. Then illegal thread state exception will be thrown, right? Now, because of this, I know that the thread is an independent process, everything is good. But can I say this is a disadvantage? I'm not able to reuse a thread.
Yes.
So in order to, if I have to do this, if I have to 10 lakh employees, if I have to do it in 1 minute, then how many threads I have to create? 10 lakh threads I have to create. Am I right?
Yes.
But creating a thread, 10 lakh threads, is it easy? You think that creating like this I can do. But the thing is, whenever you create a thread, the thread depends on, the thread execution depends on your core processor. So whenever you are buying a laptop, do you guys will buy quad core processor or dual core processor or quad core?
Quad.
Why quad core?
More processor, 4 processors.
So here in the core is divided into 4 parts, correct? Now, nowadays you can see core i3, core i5, core 8. That means in your processor, each thread belongs to a one core. So the more number of threads you are creating, the more number of, here, if what is the price of a quad core processor and what is the price of a octa core processor, which is high? Octa. That means, so like core i3 will be less price and core i5 will be more price and core i8 will be more than that, correct?
Yes.
So what is the meaning here? 3 core processor, it's a 5 core, it's a 8 core, right? So if you want to create 10 lakh threads, the number of the CPU that you have to have should be having more cores. Then that means you have to spend a lot of money on your hardware. Am I right?
Yes.
So, but that means, can I say that is not a feasible solution, correct?
You have to use the existing.
Yeah. So just like that, you cannot buy the hardware, right? It is not that easy, right? So whenever you are buying it's a data center basically. So the more you need to use, the more you need to pay. Nowadays, it's a cloud, right? So the reason not to create a multiple threads, like as and when like creating 1,000 threads or 2,000 threads, it's not a right solution. You maximum you can create, unlike you can create any number, depends on hardware system. But generally, if you create 10, so these 10 threads only, first one thread you will give some work. After completion of that work, you have to reuse this thread. For example, it is calculating the first thread is calculating the calculation of Karthik. Now after maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes, this calculation is completed. Now the thread will become free. Now to this free thread, I will give calculate the salary of Ajay. So in this way, can I say that this is nothing but a reusing of a thread?
Yes.
But am I using that here?
No.
If I try to do that, I'm getting an illegal thread state exception. Am I right? Yes or no? Guys, I hope you is my voice clear to all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think someone raised Venugopal Rao. I think it's your issue. I think it's clear for everyone else. Okay. Now, can I say that this is a disadvantage of a thread?
Yes.
So what is the disadvantage of a thread? We are not able to reuse the thread. Yeah. In order to reuse the thread pool concept has come into the picture. So in order to reuse the thread pool concept. So thread pool, if you know that swimming pool, it's what generally a pool means, it's a group, correct? So in order to reuse a thread, the thread pool concept has come into the picture. So there are 4 thread pools in Java. There are 4 thread pools in Java. So first one is fixed thread pool. Second one is cached thread pool. Third one is scheduled thread pool. Fourth one is single thread pool. Single thread pool, as the name itself tells, it's a single thread processor. So there are different thread pools in Java. So there are 4 thread pools: fixed thread pool, cached thread pool, scheduled thread pool, single thread pool. Now in order to create these thread pools, now see, this is concept-wise good. What the thread pool will do? What the thread pool will do is, for example, now I have to do the calculation of 10,000 people. I have to do the calculation of 10,000 employees, salary calculation. Now, then what I will do, I will write the salary calculation logic in this. See, this is a calculation of salary. Now, all this 10,000 employee data, where it will be there? So before this one, what is the calculation of a salary? Now, can I say that basic salary multiplied by number of days he has worked? Now, for example, now in the month of February, there are 28 days. But for example, if a person goes onto the leave, personal leave or whatever it is, if he is not working for 12 days, then what is the days that we need to give the salary? 16 days we need to give the salary. Yeah, whoever is not speaking, please go on mute. There is a background noise, the one who is speaking. Make sure that there is no background noise and then you can answer. Okay, thank you. So we need to give the salary for that person to the 16 days. Now, how can I calculate this 16 days salary? So assume that I am taking per day, basic salary is given around 1,000 rupees. Now for per day, 1,000 rupees. How much is for 16 days? 16 multiplied by 1,000. It is 16,000 for that salary person, right? So I'm giving the salary of 16,000 to that person. Okay. Now this is a calculation. Now what I will say here, the calculation is nothing but basic salary per day multiplied by number of working days. So this is a logic I'm using. Okay. Now, so this logic has to, now how many employees are there? 10,000. Now this 10,000 employees data is in my database. Now, how can I get the database data? Select star from employee table. I will get the data and I will keep that data in the array list. Now, assume that these are the employees. So on. Okay. Now, first one is E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7, E8. Now, I will create only 3 threads. I don't want to create multiple threads because I know that each thread corresponds to my operating system. Now, what I will do now, what is the thread pool means? So, how many employees are the first thread will take the empty one object and it will do the salary calculation. Done. Okay. Now, second thread is taking it. The thread pool internally uses a queue concept. What is the meaning of queue? Queue is nothing but a first in, first out. Now, in this one, it's an array list. Array list means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, 0th element is the element that is first inserted into an array list, correct? After that, 1, after that, 2. Now, so what this thread pool will do, it will take the data from the queue concept. Now, first T1 thread will execute even employee and it will do the salary calculation. And T2 thread will execute E2, and then it will do the salary calculation. T3 thread will execute E3. My bad. It will execute E3, done. Now, can I say my 3 threads are busy now? Yes, my 3 threads are busy now. So assume that it is, so this T1 thread has taken 1 minute of time and it has completed. It has completed the execution of like whatever the even number of working days and what is the basic salary, it has completed the salary calculation, right? Done. It has completed. Now it will, now after completion, can I say that my T1 is free? Yes. Now, in the earlier thread technology, I cannot reuse the thread now, but in the multi-threading, what I can do in using thread pool concept, now this, since the T1 thread is free, now it can take the employee object from the queue and then it can execute. Now then T1 thread is becoming free. Now what is another queue? In this queue, what is the next employee? E4. Then T1 will take E4 and it will execute. For example, if T3 is free, now T3 will take next employee is nothing but E5, because first in, first out, it will execute. Now T2 is becoming free, then it will take another employee E6 and it will execute. So this is how the thread pool with the executor framework will work. Don't worry, I'm going to write a program and I will explain, but what I'm trying to say is the thread pool internally uses a queue concept. Queue concept means queue follows first in, first out. So we need to have the employee object and then the salary calculation. And then we need to create a thread object. So we are going to do all of this. Now, let us come back to the code. Now we have different threads, right? Now fixed thread pool, cached thread pool, scheduled thread pool, single thread pool. Now you guys might be asking, sir, how can I know which thread pool I'm using? How can I know which thread pool I'm using? Correct? Now, in order to use a thread pool, from Java 1.5 onwards, they have created one executor framework. So there is a class and some interfaces have been created in the Java 1.5. So in order to implement a thread pool, we use an executor framework. Now let me use executors. There is a class called executors. Okay. Now what is the package? Look at here, java.util.concurrent. This package has been introduced in Java 1.5. In this executors class, now let us go to this class. Now let me see, since it is a class, now there are some methods. Look at here. New fixed. So do you guys see one method called new fixed thread pool? Yes. What is this kind of a method? It's a static method. Now, since it is a static method, how can I call this method? Class name followed by method name, executors.new fixed thread pool. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So executors.new fixed thread pool. Now, this is a method. So just now I mentioned thread pool is nothing but it's a pool which contains the number of threads. There are different thread pools are available in Java. New fixed thread pool means you will give here, this method is taking int n threads. That means you will mention, I want to create 3 threads. Then in order to create that fixed thread pool, you call this method and then give 3. That means it is using 3 threads only. Even whatever the number of employees you have, only throughout this process, you are using only 3 threads and completing the work. Similarly, new cached thread pool. We have another thread pool called new cached thread pool. What does the cached thread pool will do? It is not asking you to give number of threads. What the new cached thread pool will do, if, for example, first it will create a thread. And then if that is busy, and it will again create again one more. If that is busy, it will create again. That means it is not asking you how many threads to be created. So here in this thread, new cached thread pool, the compiler is intelligent enough to calculate whether to create a new thread or use the existing thread. So that logic has to be taken care by the cached thread pool. That means in the cached thread pool, you will not tell the JVM how many threads to be created. Automatically, the JVM will create the threads on its own. How it will create? Whenever the task is submitted, if the threads are free, it will reuse it. If not, it will create a new thread. Don't worry, I will show that. Now, similarly, new scheduled thread pool. So new scheduled thread pool means, so now I want to create a thread and that has to be executed after 10 minutes. That means you want to give some delay. then you can go for new scheduled thread pool. So another one is new single thread executor. So as the name itself is telling, it will have only one thread. Creating a single thread is nothing but a new single thread executor. Now let us go back to the new fixed thread pool. So in the new fixed thread pool, so this is the method name is new fixed thread pool, and what it is returning? Some object reference, correct? Executor service object reference. Now, in order to call this method, what should I do? Executors dot new fixed thread pool, correct? Now, executors dot new fixed thread pool, and I will give 3. That means it will create 3 threads only. What this method is returning? Executor service. It's an interface. It's an interface. In this interface, we have some methods. I will come to that method later. Let me keep the service reference name as service. Now, this is how you can create a thread pool object. So now, why are we using the executors framework? This executor framework is used to create a thread pool object and then invoke the thread. Okay. Now, before this, now let's go back to the example thread Java. Now here, once you create a thread object, what did you do? You call the start method. Now this start method only responsible to create an independent path of execution. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now similarly, now here I'm using some executor service. Now who will create? See here, whether you are using an executor service or whether you are using a normal thread, what is the meaning? You wanted to create an independent path of execution. That is nothing but a thread. Now here I'm calling the start method, but whenever I'm using an executor service, who is responsible to create an independent path of execution? Let us go to this interface. So there are some methods you can look at. See, do you see one method called submit? So this submit method is responsible to create an independent path of execution. There is another method called execute as well. So submit and then execute. These are the 2 methods which are responsible to create independent path of execution. Now, let me tell you guys. Now, before that, let me create a one class called. Now, I want to create an employee. Now, we are trying to look at the multi-threading, guys. In order to do the multi-threading, I just have given you example of calculation of an employee salary. Now, in order to calculate an employee salary, I just told basic salary I need. We need basic salary. We need employee ID, employee name, and number of working days, correct? If this is data is present in the database, then I would have written the select star from. But since now it's a multi-threading workshop, not the database, right? So what I will do, I will create some hard-coded data. In order to create, what I will do, I will create an employee class. Now let me create a class called employee. Employee. In this employee, what are the variables I need to use? Private int emp id. Private string emp name. Private double salary. This is nothing but I will calculate. After calculating, I will use this variable to set the data. Private double per day basic salary, correct? Now let me write basic salary per day. Okay. And then what is another thing I need to have? Private int number of working days, correct? When I say number of working days, this is nothing but, see, whenever I take leave, will I get a salary for that leave? No, right? So this is nothing but that one. Now let me create a setter getter for this. Generate source, generate setters and getters. Done. Now let me create a constructor. Now I will create a constructor. Generate constructors using this field. Now I don't want to keep salary, remaining fields. Now can I say that I have created an employee class? Any questions on anyone on this employee class?
No, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now let us write another. So Rajesh, setters and getters is nothing but like this method. These are the methods. Using the Eclipse, you can easily create. Okay, now let me create a different class. I am creating another class called multi-threading main. Now, okay. Now here, now let me create a main method. Now, what do you guys will do? If this data is present in the database, you would have executed a query, select star from employee. This will give you the data. And then you will write a salary equal to basic salary per day multiplied by number of working days. Okay. This you will get the salary and then you will store that salary into the setter, correct? So this is a logic. But here I don't have the database. Now what I will do is I will create an employee object and I will hard code the data. And then I will set the data into the array list. Now let us create employee objects. Employee E equal to new employee. Now what is employee? I am giving 1, 2, 3. Second name is employee name. For time being, I'm giving Karthik. Per day basic salary 10,000 I'm giving. And number of working days 23, 24 or something, whatever it is. Okay. Now that means the person has worked for 24 days in the month. Now likewise, I will give 7 or 8 employees. Now let me keep E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7. Okay, done. Now next employee is 1, 2, 4. Can you guys give me your name, someone? Any name?
Ganesh.
Rahul.
One person at a time, please. Ganesh.
Rahul.
Okay, but just give me a minute, guys. Ganesh.
Ashok.
Okay, let me give 20,000. Let me give 21. One by one, please. Let me write. Ashok. Okay. And then let me give 18 days. Yeah. Okay, fine.
Yes.
15,000. Yeah, fine. Thank you, guys. I will write. So let me write and then I will take that example. Okay. Santosh. Let me give. Please, guys, it is. Don't make any noise. Ramu. Yeah, fine. I will write it, guys. Thanks. You can go on mute, please. Okay, I just wanted to have the interactive session. So and some people have mentioned in the names in the chat. I will use that too. Thanks. Okay. Kamlesh. Okay. Now let me give. He worked for 6 days. Vasu, Hitesh. Vasu and Hitesh. Okay, guys, I can take other names also, but I'm just taking these employees because the more we just need to understand it. So now I will take 18, 17, 16 days here, some 14 days. Okay, so these are the employees that we have. Yeah, these are the employees that we have. Okay, now can I say that whenever you execute a select star from employee, you will get the data, and then from the result set you will take and you will create into an array list. Now instead of I do not have a database, so I created an employee object. Now I will add these employee objects into an array list. Correct. Now list of employee emp list equal to new array list. Okay. Now and then I will add emp list dot add. Then I will do E. Now let me add E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7. Now can I say that all the employees are added to the array list?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let me change 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. Okay, done. So I have modified the employee IDs and then I have added all the employees into a array list. Now I'm good. Now can I say that I have all the employees in the form of array. Now for all these employees, I need to calculate the salary. Okay. Now at this point of time, I can use simple for loop also, but that may time taking. So in order to do that, I want to go for a multi-threading. In order to go for a multi-threading, so I need to create a thread first of all. Am I right? Yeah. Now let us create one class, salary calculation. Salary calculation. I'm creating a class called salary calculation. Yes. Now, how can I make this salary calculation class as a thread?
By extending the thread.
Extending the thread class.
Or implementing a runnable
Interface.
Anything I can do. Now, for time being, I'm implementing runnable interface. So whenever I'm implementing a runnable interface, I need to override the run method because that's the abstract method. Done. Now, so as I mentioned, I will create one salary calculation, correct? Salary calculation method. In this salary calculation, what is my formula, guys?
Basic
Basic
salary into number of working days.
Basic salary per day multiplied by number of working days. Now, can you guys agree with me that each person will have different number of working days and different basic salary?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that means, so here can I say that based on the employee object, I need to take this basic salary, correct? So in the employee class, whenever I'm creating an employee object, I'm putting the basic salary. What is the third variable name? Third variable, it is nothing but a employee basic salary. And fourth variable is nothing but a number of working days. Now, whenever I'm writing the salary calculation logic, that per day basic salary and number of working days, I have to take it from employee object. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Yeah. So in order to take it from employee object, now in the run method, can I take the employee, can I add a employee object like this here? No, because run method is something which does not have an argument. If you add an argument, it is not treated as a overriding. Am I right? Overriding in Java means it should have the same method name and same arguments.
Yes.
So now then what I am doing is, so what is the another way I'm trying to take the employee object is, see, can I create a constructor for the salary calculation class? Yes.
Yes, sir.
What I will do in this constructor, I will accept employee object, employee E. And here I will create private variable, private employee E equal to null. Now what I'm doing here, whenever I'm creating an object, see, in order to call this run method, I need to create an object of this class that becomes a your, what do you call, instead of implements, let us do the thread, extends thread. That object creation would be easy. Okay. Now what I will do, this dot E equal to E, or you can also do implements also, guys, not a problem. I will tell you later point of time what is the difference between implements and runnable. That is not the aim of this workshop. My aim is to do the multi-threading and then execute a framework. Now here, now can I say I have the employee object now? It's a global variable. So what is the value of a global variable? It can be accessible throughout all the methods in the correct. Yes or no?
Yes.
Now what I can do, instead of getting here E dot basic salary, E dot get basic salary per day multiplied by E dot get number of working days, right? Now can I say this will give me my salary?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now double salary equal to, done. I calculated. Now what I have to do after calculating the salary, I want to store it in the same employee object. Then what I will do, E dot set salary equal to salary. See, if I give this salary during the constructor, then what is the use? I am storing, correct? So that's the reason I did not added this one in the salary constructor. There is one person who asked the question, why did not add it? This is the reason. Okay. Now where this, so can I say that every thread has to be executed this salary calculation method? Yes. So where the every thread flow of execution starts? Run method. So I will call this method here. Now, can I say that I have written a thread programming now?
Yes.
Yes or no? Now, but I need to create this object and then call. Then only I can do the multi-threading, correct? Now, let us do that one that is pending. Now, just now, so, but I'm not here, I'm not using a normal thread way of executing. Because if you are using a normal thread, the problem is you cannot reuse the thread.
Thread.
So in order to do that, we are going for a thread pool. Now, just now I've told there are 4 thread pools. Out of that, one is fixed thread pool. How can I create a fixed thread pool in Java? By calling the static method present in the executors class, correct? New fixed thread pool. Yes. And then I'm mentioning 3 threads. Done. Now it is giving executor service. Look at here. What is the return type of this new fixed thread pool method? Executor service. Service. Okay, done. Now this method will make sure that it will maximum use 3 threads only. Now, but if you go for a normal thread example class, which method is responsible to create a thread?
Start method.
Start method, correct? Now, similarly, in this one, in the service dot submit, this submit method is responsible to create a thread. Now, can you guys tell me what is the submit method is taking here? Runnable object. What is a runnable in Java?
Is interface.
It's an interface. Can you create an object to an interface?
No.
No.
Now, then how can I pass the object? So I can create a class, implement that interface, and then create an object of this class. Then I can pass that one, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So now let us do that. Now, in order to do this, I iterate over the employee list. Now I want to execute this for employee list, correct? Now employee list dot size. Okay. Now, so first of all, so now what I need to call whenever I'm using an executor framework, why am I calling this submit method? Because submit method is responsible to create independent path of execution. That means in the normal thread, the start method is responsible to create. But in the multi-threading, whenever you're using an executor framework, which method is responsible to create an independent path of execution? Submit method. What does the submit method is taking? Runnable object, correct? But here, in my example, which class is implementing runnable object? If I want to pass the runnable object, then generally what I will do? I will create a class, implement that runnable interface, and then create an object of this class. Am I right?
Yes.
Now, but in this example, which class of mine is implementing runnable?
Salary calculator.
Salary calculator.
Now, directly, can I create an object and pass it here? Yes.
Yes.
Now, salary calculation S equal to new salary calculation. But if you look at the salary calculation constructor, what it is taking?
Employee object.
Employee object.
Employee
So now
object.
so in order to get an employee object, that is why I have written employee list. Where is the employee objects are present? In the employee list. So that means I am passing this employee list of dot get of I. So that means, can I say that first time this loop will be repeated and then it will create a salary calculation object and then it will pass it here. Hope you guys understand now.
Yes, sir.
Now, let us write the diagram and then look at what is happening. Now, let me write the diagram here. Now, how many? So here, let us take, this is a array list. Array list, how many are? 0 to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now what are the employee names? Let us take Karthik, Ganesh, Ashok. Let me take the different color. Guys, I request everyone to be silent and then please pay attention. This is very important now. Karthik, Ganesh, Ashok, Ganesh, Ashok, Alam, Santosh, Ramu, Kamlesh. Okay. Now Hitesh. How many are there? Total 8 are there. Now can I say these are the thread? Now where is my, so T1, T2, T3. Assume that these are the 3. So in my fixed thread pool, how many threads I wanted to use? 3. So that means, can you create more than 3 threads? No. So whenever I start the thread, now debugging, now look at the diagram. Now T1 will execute Karthik, T2 will execute Ganesh, T3 will execute Ashok. Now let us look at here. Now let me debug. So I'm putting a debugger point, and then I'm putting a debugger point in the run method as well, and then in the salary calculation as well. Okay, guys, I request everyone to please pay attention. Please don't speak, and then please pay attention. Debug as Java application. Now, first what I'm doing, I'm just creating a employee. Why am I doing this one? Generally, this data will be there in the database, but we do not have the database connectivity now, right? So what I'm doing, I'm hard coding the data by calling the constructor. So I created employee objects. I'm adding all those employees into an array list. Done. Now, see, till now, do you guys see how many threads are executing here? Only one thread. Look at here. That is the main thread. Okay. Now, if I do after F8, will it see? Now, just now we have seen in the example thread, after completion of line number 9, is it creating a new thread of execution? No. The start method is responsible to create a new thread of execution, right? Similarly, whenever in the multi-threading example, now look at line number 34. The line number 34 is telling, you're just telling that I want to use 3 threads only. I don't want to use multiple. I want to use 3 threads. Okay. Now let me do F6. Do you see any change? Do you see any change? No, only one thread. Now let us debug. Whenever I say, who is the first employee? I equal to 0. What is the first employee from the array list? Karthik, correct? Do you guys, what is the employee name? Karthik. What is the basic salary? 10,000. What is the number of working days? 24. Then how much he will get? 2,40,000. Am I right? Now here, let's look at here. Now, as I mentioned, that submit method is one which is responsible to create an independent path of execution in the executor framework. Now, let me do F6. Now, immediately you can see. So it is going here. Let me remove this one. I don't want this one. Now let me go back to the salary calculation and then click the debugger point. Now let me do F8. Do you guys see one thread is executing from pool 1, thread 1? Yes or no? You can respond in the chat, please. Do you guys able to see from the pool 1, thread 1 is executed? Now what is the employee name here? Karthik. Now is my diagram correct? Whatever I have written, T1 thread is executing this employee. Now let me take the different color. Now this is one, it is executing, done. Now I will not complete. It is not completed. Now I'm going to the main method. Now can I F8? Can I do F6 again? Yes. Now let me do again F6. Now again I'm submitting. Look at here. Can I say that second thread is started? Yes. Now second thread is executing what employee? Ganesh. Correct? Now second thread is executing Ganesh. Is it right? Yes. Okay, done. Now let me do again F8. Again, I'm coming to the main method and then clicking F8. Do you see third thread has created? Yes. And the third thread is executing what employee? Ashok. Right? See Ashok. Now, can I say now what is now in the fixed thread pool, it will create the maximum number of threads. Whatever you mention, that number of threads only will be created. Correct? Now let me do F8 again. Do you see the threads are created? Look at here. I have completed the submit method, but is it creating a new thread? Please respond. Is it creating a new thread? No. That means here, can I say that I'm not creating no new threads, correct? Whatever the number he is mentioning here, that number of threads only created. Now, where is this data is going? This data is getting added to the queue. So whatever this array list, it is all the employees will be added to the queue. Okay, done. Now let's look at here. Now let me complete this execution. All the employees. So now my main method is in the line number 40. Now let me go to the thread 1. Currently thread 1 is executing what employee? Karthik. Now from here, I am going to the salary calculation. Done. Now what is the Karthik basic salary? 10,000 multiplied by 24, 24,000. Look at here, 24,000. In the Karthik object, do you see what is the salary variable is holding? Currently 0. Now, by this method, can I say the salary object is uploaded? So, I mean, like, if you look at the employee object, now can I say that I have calculated the salary of Karthik now? 2,40,000? Yes or no? Now, currently I'm in line number 18. Now, if I do F6, can I say that the thread in the pool, the first thread has completed its execution? It will become free whenever I do F6. Is it right?
Yes.
Now, if I do F6, that thread will become free. Done. So that means now this thread is completed executing. Then I'm removing. Now, if the same thread is given with some other employee, can I say that I'm reusing a thread? Now the question is which employee has to be taken. Now, in order to take the employee, the thread pool uses the queue concept. So in this queue, what is the next employee, guys? T1, T2, T3. It is executing till Ashok. Who is the next? So queue follows first in, first out. So 0 is the first one, second one is 1, third one is 2. Done. So who is the next person? First in, first out. So basic alarm, correct? Now T1 will start executing alarm. Now let us look at here. Now let us look at here. Now let me do F8. What I'm doing, I'm clicking on F8, guys. See, F8, whenever I click on F8, directly it has come to the logic again, right? Now what is the object it is taking? Look at here. Is it taking alarm? Yes. Now again I'm doing. Now what I will do, let's keep this on hold. Now I'll go to the thread 3. I will click on thread 3. Now currently thread 3 executing which employee? Ashok. Now can I execute? Yes. I will click on F8. Okay, done. So Ashok's salary is calculated. How much? 5,40,000. Now I am setting. Now if I do F6, can I say I will complete? Now currently thread 3 is executing Ashok. Now if I do F6, can I say that Ashok's salary calculation is completed? Yes or no? Are you guys with me?
Yes, Karthik.
Yeah. Now, whenever it is completing, what is the next employee? It now, after completion of Ashok, will it become free? Yes. Now, what is the next employee? Santosh. That means it will take it from the queue. Correct? Done. Now, let us do F8 and see whether it is working. Now, that means, am I reusing the thread? Same thread? Look at here. What is the employee? Yes, Santosh. That means, are you doing the multi-threading here or not? Now,
Yes.
yeah. Now let's go to thread 2. Let's complete the thread 2. Thread 2 is working on some, what is the object? Ajay, I think. Yeah, Ganesh. Now let's complete the Ganesh. So Ganesh, a salary is this much. Okay, 4,20,000. Now, after completion of Ganesh, what is the next employee? T2 will take Ramu, correct? Yeah, now let's do F8. See, what is the employee it is working? Ramu, right? So this is how the multi-threading will work. So what is the meaning of multi-threading? It will, the threads will be reused. Now in the, what is a fixed thread pool? The number of threads in this one, for example, now if you are using a normal thread process, I have 8 employees. In order to reuse the thread, I cannot reuse the thread. Then how many threads I need to create? 8 threads. But here, if I have to create 8 threads, maybe, for example, if I take 100 employees, then I have to create 100 threads. Creation of 100 threads is not a good design, right? The good design will tell you have the number of threads are less, but it has to do the reusability, right? So now if you look at here, how many threads I'm using? New fixed thread pool. The new fixed thread pool says, whatever the number of threads that you give, it will create that number of threads only. And once the thread has become free, then the data, the task, what is the task here? Salary calculation is a task. That task will be taken from the queue and the threads will work accordingly. Hope you guys understand. Now you guys might be asking, sir, I want to implement this in my project. Now what you guys to do? So maximum, whenever you want to do implementation of multi-threading in your project, here what I'm doing the multi-threading, salary calculation, correct? Now in your project, you might be having some different functionality. What you guys need to do? Can I say that this method only the implementation you need to write, remaining everything you need to use same? Am I right? Guys, you can respond now. So if you want to do the multi-threading in your projects, what you have to do? Instead of salary calculation, you have to write your own logic. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is about a multi-threading, guys. This is about multi-threading. Okay. So this is how we can use the executor framework in Java. I hope you guys, anyone has any questions only on this topic? Whatever I have explained, does anyone has any questions?
Sir, here 3 threads are reusing, right?
Yes.
For example, if you want to use which thread is free, then only that thread has to
Generally.
yeah. For
So
example,
that is what,
before
whenever,
it is calling, right?
so that decision will be taken care by the scheduler. Now, for example, now I am debugging this code, you are able to understand. But if I run the program, can you guess at any point of time what thread is executing? No, because the execution of a thread depends on a scheduler or your operating system, right? So that is the reason we have at any point of time, if you want to see what thread is executing, you have a static method, correct? Thread dot current thread. Why this is a static method? Because you do not know at what point of time which thread will execute, correct? So
Yes.
you cannot recollect that. So it will be depending on the scheduler.
Okay.
Karthik, after this for loop, still these threads are available for to run?
Yes. In order to call, so in order to do that, you need to call service.shutdown. So then the threads, now let me execute complete. Let me do F8. So it is executing, okay. But still, do you see here generally whenever I complete the program, here you will get a terminated option, correct? But do you see all are running? Yes. So if you want to shut down, you need to call the shutdown method. Now let us debug this code with a shutdown. Now, see, generally after terminated, you can see terminated like this. But earlier, I have not written the service.shutdown. So thread 1, thread 2, thread 3 are still executing. Generally, but after completion of a multi-threading, in order to shut down the threads, this is the method you need to use. In normal way of thread, it is not, because it is considered as after execution of a run method, the threads are completed. Now I am executing this, debugging this code. Look at here. So I'm executing a thread. Look at here. After completion of the threads, see, you can see thread terminated. Now let me comment this line. Let me comment this line and then execute and then debug it. You see, it will be running. I'm continuously clicking F8 just to show you that. See, do you guys see? See, there is no, see, all the threads are, see, do you see any debugger point? No, but still the threads are running. So because in order to stop the threads, you need to call the service shutdown method. In the executor service, there is a method called shutdown. This will shut down the threads that are created.
So here, without writing shutdown, if I call again service.submit, yes, I mean, what happens?
But what do you pass? Yes, you can reuse again. That thread can be reused to perform some other work also. It will work.
Okay.
And
Is there any
how,
terminate
1% at
also
a time.
method is there in this one service?
I don't think so. You can check that. Yeah, is terminated. It will return you whether the thread is terminated or not. Yeah.
Okay.
But shutdown will shut down the thread. It's a Boolean terminated method. Yeah, 1% at a time, please.
yeah, if you call submit.s, how it will take that our method salary?
So here, whatever here, can I say that this salary calculation, whatever you are passing, this is a task that you want to perform using a thread?
Yes.
So all these tasks will be added to the queue. Internally, each thread pool will use one queue. So this is a queue. So all that, see, whenever you do F6, each employee, you are adding it to the salary calculation and submitting, right? That data is added to the queue internally. So each thread pool will use a queue. So whenever you say submit, so first thread will be created. That thread will take the data from the queue. what does the queue follow? What is the queue? First in, first out, correct?
First in, first out. Yeah.
So in this queue, what is the first element that is inserted? In array list, what is, see, this is array list, right?
Yeah,
That array list
Karthik.
elements, I am adding it to the queue. So in this one, 0th is the first element, correct? Now that's the reason T1 thread is executing, taking the first element. So first in, first out means after that, now for example, T3 has completed the work. Now, till Ramu, all the threads are executing. What is the next element that is inserted? Kamlesh. So T3 will take. So what is the fashion it will follow? First in, first out. So to answer your question, the data, whenever I say submit, before this one, whatever you're doing, this, because of this line, all the data will be added to the queue. So whenever you say service.submit, first 3 threads are there, 3 threads will take the execution work, and then remaining employees will be added to the queue. So from the queue, if the thread becomes free, since it is a queue, it will follow the first in, first out.
Suppose in salary calculation class, we have multiple methods are there. So
Okay.
which method it will take?
So see, whatever the method you have, can I say that your thread execution starts from run method only?
Okay. Yes, yes. Yeah.
Hope you understand whatever the method. After salary calculation, you want to generate a file, correct? Write that
Yes.
method here.
Okay.
Generate file like this.
Okay. Multiple
Whatever
methods we can write it. Right? Yeah.
it's up to you. It's up to you. See, if I have a code, I can write in a method. Do you have a limitations to write any number of lines of code? In a single method, I can write 10,000 lines also. But is
Yes.
that considered as a good programming?
No.
No. Having the smaller methods is a good programming so that you can understand it, right? So you can write, see, after calculating the salary, what do? You will generate a file and give it to the bank. They will deposit the money. So generate file, you can write in this method only, or you can write separate method. After completion of,
if you write generated files, right? So if you write the 2 methods, the 2 methods also take
will be for each thread. Each thread will be calculated. Yes.
Okay. Means only 6 thread pools will be created, right?
No. Why 6 thread pools will be created? Always
Three
the
only.
threads are 3 only. Each thread will come to the run method. But inside, see, whatever may be the thread, it will come to the execution will come to the run method. In the run method, first you have this method. After completion of this, if there are no exceptions, it will go to this method. You can write 10 methods also. Or can I say that instead of writing a method, copy this code and then put it in run method? Directly, I can also do. Why am I creating a method? To tell you the easy use, correct?
Easy way. Yes, yes.
Yeah. That's the only thing. So you can write any number of methods also, not a problem.
Okay. Salary calculation and generate file, both are not parallelly, it will not execute.
You see, if you want to parallel execute, that's a different way of doing it, correct?
Okay.
Yeah. But here, see, when can you generate a file? Once the salary is calculated only, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is the reason I have written separate methods.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to create a parallel processing, then what you can do? You can independently, you can write 2 multi-threading programming, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Any other questions, anyone?
I just have one question. How will know what is the optimum size of the pool that can be
So
taken? Like
it depends.
is it by trial and-
Yeah, no, it is not trial and error method. So based on your hardware, the number of cores that you have in the CPU, there is a formula. I don't remember that formula at this point of time. So there is a formula to create how many number of threads. Using that formula, it can tell you, basically your question is I have given 3. Now, how can I say that if 3 is a correct right number or not? Am I right? Can I use a thread
are we
10 or
making
20?
optimum use, or like are there some free objects which are having no work to do? So like that.
So so in order to calculate this number of threads, so there is a formula. I don't recollect it at this point of time, but if there is any other workshop, I can tell you that. So that formula looks at the number of cores present in your CPU divided by 12. Exactly, it is something around number of cores present in your processor divided by 12, and some other X factor will give you the number of threads to be created. So that is the right procedure to create a fixed thread pool. And generally the fixed used the proper usage of would be the fixed thread pool only, not the cached thread pool. Cached thread pool, it will create on their own. So there may be a number of threads created will be more. So, but if I am creating with a new fixed thread pool, I can calculate the number of threads based on my hardware system, and I can say that my whatever the project we are running, it never goes out of memory or some other issues.
So what are
Hope
the
that answers.
general guidelines we should remember while deciding which thread pool to use, like whether that's new fixed,
That is what.
fixed one, or cached
It
one?
depends on your hardware system. So generally the followed one will be the fixed thread pool because you have a control, correct? See, whenever you are using a multi-threading, but if you are using a cached thread pool will create, now let us quickly tell you new cached thread pool. Okay. In the cached thread pool, you don't give number of threads. Okay. Now let me run the program, debug as Java application. Now you guys see, when the cached thread pool will create a thread, if the current execution of thread is free, like busy, it will create a thread. Now let me show you guys. Now currently no threads. First time, say one thread is created. Sorry, I have not kept the debugger. See, that is what, if I don't keep the debugger, the run method execution is completed. So let me keep and execute again. So now let me click F8. Okay. Now if I do F6, see service.submit, see one thread is created. Now, can I say the first thread is created by the thread scheduler? Is it busy? Yes or no? Is it busy? Executing Karthik employee? Yes. Is it completed in the work? No. Then what the cached thread pool will do is, if the currently how many threads are there? One. Is it busy? Yes. Then it will create one more. Look at here. See, it will create one more thread. Done. So if the second thread is also busy, yes, it is executing. Then it will create one more. So that means the number of threads here, it will create one more. Done. Till now, how many threads are there? Shankar? Three. Is the 3 threads are busy?
Yes.
Now that means the scheduler will create one more thread because all are free, all are executing, correct? Now see, it is creating one more. That means who is taking the decision on number of threads to be created? The scheduler. If the thread is free,
based on the execution time of our work, we can decide
yes,
whether to go for fixed.
Yes. So the scheduler will decide whether to create a new thread or not in the cached thread pool. But in the fixed thread pool, whatever you give, whatever the number that you give, that many number of threads only it will create, so that you have a control of your program. Though you are doing multi-threading, you have a control of your program, and you will never go out of memory error. And the number of threads that you have to give in the fixed thread pool, you can derive from a formula. So that is the best way of doing it.
I think if task duration is very minuscule, minor, cached will have an optimal thing because it might use less number of threads.
Yeah, it
will have
depends.
less load.
Yeah,
And what about schedule?
Just a minute. Just a minute. There was
scheduled.
Shankar, please wait. There was a question from other person. Let me take this. Yeah, Shashi Kumar, go ahead.
So actually, hi to all. So I just missed this point. Like due to internet problem, I missed this executive service framework. So I know it's ridiculous to ask this thing. Like, can you explain this again?
So the problem is, if I have to explain again, it may take another hour. What you can do, maybe if you are part of the Ashok IT group, then this video will be shared with you. You can watch the video again.
Like it is on community group or something like a personal WhatsApp group?
It's a community group. It will be shared, or you can watch in the YouTube. This is getting live in the YouTube as well.
YouTube, it is also getting okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, more than one thread pool shall we create, sir?
Yes. I mean, like one thread pool, only one thread pool in a program.
One thread pool.
What is the business scenario? You tell me. You can create multiple thread pools. See, the thread pool itself is nothing but you want to create multiple threads. Again, what is the meaning of creating multi-thread pools?
Like means, sir.
Like if you want to schedule a thread pool after 1 hour, but that thread pool should be cached one.
Yeah, that is what you can create a new scheduled thread pool. There is again schedule thread pool. Here itself, you can mention the time also. Automatically, it will use.
So in the scheduled one, I want to
Thread
use
pool.
cached one sometimes, and sometimes I want
So
to use fixed one. In that case.
So that kind of a feature is not there.
So if you use scheduled one, will it always be cached one or it will be a fixed one?
So it depends on a core size. If you look at your new schedule thread pool, it is taking the core pool size. So it is so intelligent enough to calculate the number of threads to be created. So it is not asking you number of threads also. It is not asking you, it is not a cached also. It's a mix of both. It is so intelligent. That means it is not like a cache completely. It is not like a fixed completely. It takes a decision. What
so
you
like
can do is just,
like how cached decides.
So that is what you can do after the class. You do the executor with a new schedule thread pool, and then you can decide that. Okay. Yeah. So guys, before the next topic goes, so I do teach data structures and design patterns. Let me stop sharing and then start. Someone has mentioned something. Okay. So there is in the morning 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. data structures is going on, and 9 to 10 a.m. design patterns. So in the data structures, let me come to the details of this course. In the data structures, we discuss about linked list, collection internals, stack, queue, tree, graph, sorting, searching, pattern matching, matrix, and shortest path algorithm, dynamic programming. And then we are also going to solve HackerRank programs in the class live itself. So this is what we are going to discuss at high level in the data structures. So all of you are going to get today one email from the Ashok IT, which will have the data structure demo class links. You can watch it. And if you are interested, you can join for this. The fee for this data structure course is 7,000 rupees for live classes and 10,000 rupees if you would like to enroll for the videos. The videos will have the 6 months access. You can watch any number of times in 6 months. And coming to the classes, we completed around just 2 weeks. We are in the linked list. I mean, like we just started with the stack. So if anyone is would like to interest to join this, you will be given all the videos till whatever we have completed, and you can watch that. And I also plan to have the if you are joining, I also have to plan the what you call backup classes for those. Okay, so this is about a data structures. And coming to the and in the data structures also, whatever I teach in the practical programming way only. So, and coming to the design patterns, in this design patterns, we are going to learn creational, structural, behavioral, and then some microservice design patterns. This we just started recently. It's maybe a 1 week. We just completed singleton, chain of responsibility, and then factory pattern. So this is the fee for this design pattern course is 5,000 rupees. And for this, you will be getting the recorded videos free of cost. We don't charge anything extra for the recordings. If anybody is interested, you can call up the Ashok IT. So what you can do today after the class, tomorrow afternoon, you are going to get an email from the Ashok IT. All of your registered emails, you are going to get an email from the Ashok IT, which will contain the Java design pattern demo videos, at the same time data structure demo videos. You can watch those demo classes freely, and you can take a decision whether to enroll for this course or not. Even some people wanted to, like, due to some financial situation, they cannot enroll. That is also fine, but I request you guys to watch the demo videos so that some knowledge you might get which you are not aware. So in the demo videos of data structures, I have discussed about the how to create a custom collection, custom array list. What is the internal implementation of array list? What is the internal implementation of hash map? So those things we have discussed in the demo classes of data structures. You can watch those. And after that, if you feel that the way of teaching mine is good, and you can enroll for this course. And similarly to the design pattern, you can see factory pattern and the singleton design pattern we have discussed, and how many number of ways we can break the singleton design pattern. You can watch those videos, and if you are interested, you can enroll. Now, next question would be, how can I enroll? In the same email that you are going to get tomorrow morning, you will have the details on where to do the payment, after doing the payment, what you have to do. And if anybody is interested, please give your mobile number and the name in the chat so that Ashok IT will contact you. Now open for questions. Any questions on this topic? Does anyone has any questions on the data structure course content or design pattern course content?
Sir, you also discussed trees and graphs in the data structure course, sir?
Yes, yes. In the tree, there are n number of like what is a binary tree, what is a binary search tree, how can I create a mirror image of a tree traversal techniques like in order, pre-order, post-order, and then level order. And then there are many questions, right? So all those questions we'll discuss about the tree. And then in the graph also, breadth first search, depth first search, and then shortest path algorithm in a graph, right? All those. When I say discuss, it is not like a theory, guys. It's a live coding session.
Right. Thank you.
So the Ignesh Anton, the demo videos will be sent to you today. Maybe tomorrow afternoon, you will get an email from the Ashok IT. You can get the demo videos. In the email, you can watch. See, I request you guys to please check the spam folder or the inbox folder. So for the fee structure for data structure is 7,000 for live classes, 10,000 including recording for 6 months. For design patterns, it's 5,000 and the recordings are free of cost for 6 months. Yeah. Whoever is interested, can I request you guys to please add your name and then mobile number to the chat. You will get a call from the Ashok IT. And if you are interested, you can do the enrollment. So interested candidates, can you add please your mobile number and WhatsApp mobile number and then the name in the chat box. Okay, whatever I teach, I can 100% say that it will be a practical session. And so whatever the time I committed, 7:30, I'll be on time. Maximum, I would say 98%, I would be on time. And if there is any emergency or something, I will let you know, guys, in the ahead of the time, according to the class schedule and all. So, and the duration for the data structures is between 2.5 to 3 months, and the design patterns is 35 to 40 days. Yeah. Any other questions, anyone?
Karthik, can we expect like core Java classes from you?
I just completed in the month of January. So currently I'm busy. Maybe in future I can plan. If the number of students are good number, then I can plan the core Java. I teach core Java for almost 45 to 60 days. And I'm planning maybe in the next month, I'm planning to cover only thread concepts within 10 days. So the content would be this one. I am just planning it, but I have not yet finalized it. Once it is finalized, you guys will get to know.
Yeah, that is very helpful, sir, for threads in 10 days.
Yeah, so in the threads, we are going to look at all of these topics. And there are some more topics to be written. I have not completed yet. So I'm planning to have the thread workshop, which is of 10 days and which will be very less fee. I think maybe 1,000 or 1,500. That is not yet decided. Once it is decided, we will let you know, guys. I know that some people, due to time constraint, 60 days means you cannot join because you know the OOP concepts very well and collection concept very well. Many people I know that they are weak in the threads. So they wanted to learn, but they cannot afford 5,000. So they wanted to do it for less. And the time also, they don't want to spend 2 months of time. They want to complete it in 1 week or 2 weeks. So I'm planning to have the threads only session. That is not yet decided. Once it is decided, we'll let you know, guys.
Actually, this is interesting, Karthik. Whatever you're saying, only threads. That's great.
This is really nice idea, sir. Even I too feel like that.
Yes,
because just because for 1 or 2 topics we cannot join, as you said, it is affordability wise as well as time wise.
Yeah.
If
So
you can plan for these kind of exclusive workshops, it is really useful, sir.
yeah. So when I say some workshop, right? You guys do not know me, right? The only thing I keep workshops is this I should have kept in the practical session also, paid version also, correct?
No,
But the
I
thing
understand,
is,
sir.
the main thing is many things I see, because when I was at your stage, I faced a lot of struggles to understand threading. That's how I was able to. That's when I started everything understanding Java with debugging. So even you can understand, like there are some students, right? My previous class students and all. Can you guys someone tell that whether how will be the course? How the course will go? Like whoever is my part of my previous class students, will it be a practical or a theoretical, or how it will go? Can you share your experience, anyone?
Yeah, we joined the data structures and algorithm course. It's actually understanding, like we are able to understand the concepts.
Yeah. So whatever I teach, because I was there at your stage, I struggled a lot, and then I started understanding the Java through programmatically, and then looking at the predefined code and all. So that's the reason I teach practically. So if I'm planning this, I'm planning to have the thread workshop, which will be maximum of 10 days, or maybe 1 or 2 days here. And then the fee, considering the fee also, it would be minimal. So I'm planning it. Let's see how it goes. Once everything is fine, and if we are coming to the poster stage, I will let you know, guys. You can join that.
Is it daily 1 hour or only weekends? You're saying?
No, it would be daily.
Okay.
Because the thing is, the threads itself is difficult. If I take one day, Sunday, and then completely tell from morning to night, it looks good on that day, but on Monday you will forget. So because the way I teach is every day morning 1 hour, and then next day I will recap the session for 10 minutes and then continue the topic. Likewise, every day the recap will also happen. At the same time, you are learning the new topics. So in that way, though it is taking 10 days, you will be able to practice. You have a time to practice. At the same time, if you miss one class, since because of my recap, you will be able to cover it.
Yeah. We are ready to join, Karthik, if you start this course.
Yeah. So I will let you know soon.
Sir, even I am interested to join the threads class, sir.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sir,
sure.
I am also interested to join the class.
Yeah. So sure, guys.
Start earlier, sir.
Many people are there, sir. Many people are there.
Yeah. Sure. I
This is
understand.
a very complicated topic. We are not finding a comprehensive kind of thing. Only 1 or 2 days, definitely 1 or 2 hours. It is not at all enough to understand the in-depth concepts of threads.
Yeah.
As you planned, it takes minimum 10 to 12 hours we have to spend. Then only we can understand properly.
Yeah. So, and I can 100% assure you that once you listen to my classes, you'd never find difficulty of answering the thread questions.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, I can promise on that. And if you want to have the what you call expertise in that, you need to practice at least 30 minutes a day.
Yes.
If without practice, I cannot guarantee anything.
That is a correct. Yes.
Yeah. So as of now, whoever is interested for data structures and design patterns, write your name, mobile number, and then write the batch you are interested. At the same time, whoever is interested for threads, I request you guys to please write your name, mobile number, and then in brackets you can write you wanted to for data structures or threads or design patterns. Can you guys put that information in the chat? Together, not the separate messages, one message. What is your name? Can you guys wait for a minute? I can create a Google form for you guys.
Yeah, that will be great.
Yes.
Yeah, just give me a minute, guys. I will create a Google form and I will share the link. Just give me a minute. Apart from this one, like, how do you feel, guys? Today's class, how does it go? Does it good?
Yeah, good, sir.
Really good, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Nice explanation to understand things.
Yeah.
Actually, we debugged a lot of complex programs previously, but we never observed these concepts in the threads.
Way of the explaining and debugging very.
Hello.
Yeah, just a minute, guys. Just a minute. Let me complete this Google form quickly. Yeah. Guys, I'm sharing that Google form link in the chat. I just shared the Google form link in the chat. Can someone access this and let me know if you are able to access this Google form?
I'm able to access it, sir.
Yeah. So I just kept some questions. What is the topic that you are interested? It's a checkbox. There are three options. DSA means data structures and algorithm. Design patterns is design pattern, and thread topics is nothing but a thread workshop that I talked. And I request you guys to please add your name and then the email ID. Please submit your response to the form. I request you guys to please submit your response to this form. See, this is a feedback form. Interested topic, DSA, design pattern, thread, and then your name and email ID. So I see only 8 responses. Please.
Yes, I done, sir.
Yeah. So whoever has not done, please do it. And does anyone has any questions on what to be covered in the data structures and what to be covered in the design patterns? Do you guys want me to show the course content? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, which one? Data structures or design patterns?
Thread also.
Okay, both also. Okay, fine. Let me go one by one. So, guys, I am habituated to write in the OneNote, guys. I'm habituated to write using a pen. I'm more of a person who understand things with writing. So in like basically I'm from a Telugu medium background, and then later in engineering I do not have a Telugu medium, so I have has to convert into a English medium. So it is I hope it would be very difficult, right? Whenever you look at it, correct? From Telugu to English medium. So I habituated to write a lot and practice a lot, because that's how I started my initial things. So that's the reason I'm habituated to write. So I use OneNote only with a pen, because when I write, I will be able to visualize and remember forever. I don't need to study again. Okay, coming back to the course content. See, we are going to discuss about this linked list, stack, queue, DQ. Okay, I think this is not the one. Let me show you the one. So with the HackerRank links as well. So we are going to practice the HackerRank programs also. In the class video, that HackerRank program links are also provided. So whatever the email that you are going to get recordings, right? It will be there. See, these are introduction. In the linked list, these are the HackerRank programs we are going to start. I mean, we are going to write the code in the live class. And then these are about a stack. In the stack, we are implementing stack using array, linked list, queue, and then balanced bracket problem. In the queue, we have DQ blocking queue, priority queue, array blocking queue, linked blocking queue, implementation of queue using an array, linked list, stack, and the trees. See, basic concepts of tree. What is a tree? What is a binary tree? What is a binary search tree? In order, pre-order, post-order, height of a tree, depth of a tree, elements of a tree, min and max element of a tree, print all the leaves of a binary search tree, level order, vertical order, difference between two nodes. Okay, So all these questions we are going to practice. Now, when I say in the heap also, what is the max heap? What is the min heap? Heap sort, converting the given array into a max heap, converting it to a min heap, and then adding an element to a max heap and min heap. Under the dynamic programming, fundamentals, Fibonacci series program, recursion versus dynamic programming, and then coin change. And the graph, basic concepts, BFS, DFS. Check whether the graph is a tree or not. Pattern matching, these are some examples. Fundamentals of an array, it will include the single dimensional and multidimensional, and then time and space complexity. And these are the some of the questions that are frequently asked. Okay. And then comes the sorting, bubble sort, insertion sort, selection sort, heap sort, merge sort, quick sort. So for live classes, 7,000. For live classes and video access, 10,000. Timing is 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Monday to Friday. And duration is 2.5 to 3 months. When I say Monday to Friday, I will stick to that. But if there is any, as I'm working professional, if there is any emergency, like meeting or unknown thing has planned, I will let you know guys through the WhatsApp group. So there is a WhatsApp group for all the enrolled candidates. So I will let you know guys if there is no class, and then that will be covered over over weekend. Saturday, I will let you know that Saturday timings ahead of the time. Does any questions?
Sir, batch already started, right? So if we join in middle, how can we understand?
Yeah.
Can we catch
So,
up to the topics?
Yes. So what you can do whenever it is started. So this Wednesday I will be on leave from Wednesday to Monday. So there is ball hit ceremony is planned for my younger daughter, so I'll not be available. So you have an ample amount of time to go through the videos. So whatever, even if you watch my live session or if you watch my recording session, it will be easy to understand. You have the ample amount of time to watch it. And if you still have any questions, whenever I come back to the class, you can ask me the question. I'm happy to answer all of your questions at the end of the class. Okay. So
okay, sir.
Any questions on the DSA course content, anyone?
How many classes completed, sir, on this data structure?
So which is completed 2 weeks. We are into the linked list, some programs, and we just started with the stack.
Okay, sure.
Don't worry, if you watch that videos will be given to you, you can watch, and then I will take up the backup classes as well. If you have any questions, even if you do not have any questions, I'll take some classes to go through all of those quickly once you watch the videos. And to watch the videos will give you the enough time as well.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. So now let's quickly look at the design patterns course content. So in the design pattern, so we are going to discuss creational design patterns, structural, behavioral, and then these are the microservice design patterns. And then at the end, solid design principles overview. And this class is morning 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday to Friday. And the duration of this course is 45 days. And the fee is 5,000 with recordings and access up to 6 months. Any questions, anyone on top of this? I'm sharing a link again in the chat. I request you guys to please access the link and then share your interest for what batch you wanted to. Like, I see 30 responses, but we have around 60 to 68 people. Please provide your response.
My user phone take time to open.
I could not hear you.
My user phone take a lot of time to open due to my internet connection.
Okay, fine. What you can do is you add your name and then mobile number and email ID in the chat, please, so that Ashok IT can contact you.
I already asked, sir.
Okay, fine. Yeah, if you're done already, then thank you. Any other questions, anyone?
There's a question with me, like, hello.
Yeah, there is a lot of background noise from you. Can you please go to the place where there is no less background?
Is it audible? Like, is it clear?
Yeah, it is clear, but there is a background noise.
Now I'm asking about current like now. I
Yeah,
came out.
yeah. Yeah,
So
fine,
actually, I was like, you are saying about design patterns and data structures, right? So can you tell me like what is a practical application? Like for example, there are some things like why we are using Spring Boot, why we are using JDBC. There is some particular usage, but I haven't heard about why we need to use design patterns. Like
So, for example, if I tell you one singleton design pattern is present. So if you are why to use a singleton design pattern? So generally the singleton design pattern can be used whenever you're creating a logger or whenever you're creating a database connection. So what if I don't use? If I don't use, every time you're creating an object. Whenever you create an object, your heap memory will be full, correct? After, for example, you are calling that there is a loop which runs for 1 lakh times. Inside that loop, if you are creating a database connection, so that connection object will be established 1 lakh times, and then 1 lakh times it will occupy the memory in the heap. So which may give you the out of memory error after some point of time, right? But if you are following the singleton design pattern at this point of time, so singleton design pattern makes sure if there is an object, you don't need to create another object, right? In that way, even if your loop repeats for 10,000 times or 1 lakh times, how many objects are there for database connection? Only one object. So in that way, you can avoid. So design patterns are something which are proven solutions. So whenever you're writing a program, simply you can write the program with a normal way of writing, like one method and for loop and all. But there is some issues with those. So each design pattern is going to solve some kind of problem. So that's where the design pattern comes into picture. These are the proven solutions. If you are following this one, your program will less prone to the errors and easily extensible without modifying the code. That's where the design pattern comes into picture.
Yeah. So okay, it's clear. But what about data structures too? Like see, there
So
are
data structures is something. Is something can be called as a data structure if you are storing some data inside it. Correct. So for example, if I take array list, what is the array list is doing? Inside the array list, what is the data internal data structure? It's an object array only. It is storing the data. When you come to the linked list, how does the linked list will store the data? In a linked list, there are multi nodes. Each node will contain the address of next node. So that means data structures is something which will store the data. So if you want to process something, see, you have from database, you are picking some data. On top of the data, you want to process something. So some people will create a array list. Inside the array list, they will create a map, and then inside the map, they can create another set, something like that. So you are preparing the data in such a way that you can access or you can perform some operations, right? So data structures is something to store the data, and then there are some, see, those are the things like you can store the data in the form of, if you are going for a hierarchical form, then you can go for a tree or you can go for a graph. If you want like removal is easy, then you can go for a linked list. If you want to store the element, add the element easily, then you can go for array list. So data structure talks about storing the data and then performing the operations on it. Hope you got the answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So any other questions, anyone? So Darshan, the multi-threading course content is not yet fully completed. I'm just working on it. Okay, so for time being, this is a course content, but there is some more thing needs to be added or fine-tuned. We'll get to know later. Okay, that's the reason I'm not showing this one, because it's not completed one. So once we announce the thread workshop, you will get to know that. Okay. So any other questions, anyone?
For this threading concepts, if possible, can you add concurrency API also?
Yes, the
atomic and all those concepts.
Yes. So in the executive framework, it is present itself is present in the java.util.concurrent. Correct. So that's where the concurrency package comes into picture. You're talking about a atomic variables, atomic integer, atomic. What is the difference between volatile and atomic, right? So yes, I'm planned to complete. That's where I told it is the content is not fully prepared. I'm not getting a time. I'm little busy. Once I prepare, I will look at my schedule and the class will be announced.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Any other questions, anyone? So I request you guys to please, I'm sharing the Google form link again. Can you guys please fill it? Sorry, I have shared to Darshan. Let me share it again for everyone. Yeah. So whoever did not respond to the Google form, please do respond. Okay. So if no question, that's all for today. And I hope you guys have learned something new. Yeah, fine. So if no question, that's all, guys. Thank you all. Thanks for joining.
So will there be a class tomorrow?
Yeah, no, it's only for 1 day workshop.
1 day only. Okay, sure.
Yeah. So thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks for
Okay, sir.
joining.
Thank you.